Welcome to episode 9 of our Creative Christmas series.
I'm going to show you how to make a 3D tree out of a magazine. You could use 2 magazines for this. I have this one and it's so nice. I didn't want to get rid of it. So find the middle. To do that, just find how many pages there are. 185, 186, and then find the middle of that. So I'm not great at maths. 186 divided by 2 is 93. So find page 93. There's page 93. So, and then we need to cut it down the middle. So normally with these, you can kind of just bend the spine like that. And then chop it down the middle like so.
So then we are going to fold the page from the outside top corner into the spine, right up to the edge of the spine, and crease it really well with your finger. And then you take it again and you fold it again in towards the spine and crease it with your finger all the way along. Then you fold the bottom, fold it up towards you so that it's flat with the bottom, and then tuck it in. And then you fold it over and you have your first part of your little Christmas tree. So that's all tucked in one little flap. And then you just continue to fold. So you fold your next page in towards the spine, making sure as you go that each of these folds goes right in towards the spine, because each of these little, like say, call them like tree branches, they all need to be exactly the same. So all these little tree triangles need to be the same. And then you got your next one, and you just keep going along until all of the folds have been done on this side of the book.
And each time I'm really creasing it very strongly. If you find that hard, you could use a ruler to help get those creased lines. Bend it down like that. And tuck it in. Down. And in. Crease it in like that. You could do this with an old book if you wanted from the charity shop. You just make sure to take off the cover from it. And see here, if it starts to get a little bit tricky, just squish it down like that. Okay, so use your ruler there if it's starting.
When you start to get a good chunk, you just kind of want to squish it together. Make sure that they're all even just before you continue on, because sometimes it can get a bit bulky. So then you just need to keep going with the rest of the book, and you do exactly the same for the other side. So I'm continuing on here, folding all the pages in. Again, make sure that you have all the folds the same. And when you get towards the end here, just kind of squish it all together. You can see it's got really substantial. I've just got a few more to go, so keep on going. I actually didn't think I'd need all these pages, but it turns out I did actually need all the pages to make the tree look substantial. The back cover is really thick. I'm going to take the back cover off, but I don't want to damage the spine, so I'm going to cut it, because remember, the spine is where all of those folds are attached to, so you don't want to accidentally, split the spine. If you did, you could glue it together, but ideally, just make sure that it is not damaged. So make sure it's all squished together. So that is one half there completed. And then you're going to do exactly the same for the other part of your magazine. So I'm just going to take off that front cover. I don't want that really thick paper. And I am going to create the other half of my Christmas tree. So now I have the two halves of the book page tree completed, and they are both a good substantial half. There's 2 ways you can join these together. You can glue them along the spine. So glue would go along the spine here. I'm going to use a glue gun, or you could also use paper clips to attach them together. I experimented with the paper clips. I actually ended up using the glue gun in the end, but the paper clip is a very simple way to do it if you don't have a glue gun. And it does work. It's just not as sort of structurally sound as I wanted my tree to be. So you can just use paper clips just along the bottom. And then I found with the tree, I also needed to put a few along the top as well. So you can do it that way, or you can glue it. I ended up gluing mine, and if any of the little pages are loose, you can just tear them out. So I'm just going to tear this one out because otherwise it's just going to be a bit messy. And then you put the glue all along the spine. So don't put it on any of your triangles. You're just going to put on the spine. So check everything is matching up okay. You know where you're going to put it. Make sure you know exactly where it's going to go before you put the glue on it. And you might need a second person to help you with this. It was a little bit fiddly doing this by myself because the glue gun got quite hot. So if you do have somebody to help with this part, it might be helpful just even to hand you the other part of the glue, the glued part and the non-glued part, put them together. So just get them together, make sure they're matching. That's what you need to be careful of. And then hold it together, the core part, because you want the core to really squeeze in. But it's very structurally sound when it's finished, and it wasn't very messy at all. Another thing that you could actually add to your book page Christmas tree is a little string on the top as well. You could glue that into it. I'm leaving mine as is because it is going to sit on top of my mantelpiece. But there you have your magazine page book. And like I say, you could make it from book pages, really any kind of paper. But here mine is in all its glory. It turned out really well. I really enjoyed this project. It is a bit longer than the other ones, but I definitely think that it is worth doing. And I know I'm gonna use this skill again. I'm gonna make them maybe for next Christmas, make smaller versions. But right now I'm gonna pop this underneath my Christmas tree.
A few tips. So I used a magazine that was, I think it was 180 pages. I'll put the exact page number here. I know I said it at the beginning of the video. And I think you do need that amount of pages for it to feel really full. The magazine was a Monocle magazine, so the pages were nice and thick. Not sponsored by Monocle. And I think that helped with the substantial nature of it. If you're using more than one book or magazine, you need to make sure that they're exactly the same size. In terms of time, it's not a quick project. It's definitely the kind of project that you could come back to again and again. I'd say this project is definitely for older children. The folding, you have to be quite precise with it. I think if you have done origami and you have got the kind of finesse of those like fine edges and things needing to match up, then you'd be able to do this project. But you do need to make sure that each of your folds is the same, otherwise it's not going to be smooth on the outside. So that's something to think about. So great project for adults, older kids, teenagers. I think they would have no problem with it. Might get a little bit tired with the folding. I know my arms got tired for some reason, so I'd maybe recommend that it's a project that you kind of come back to again and again. I think I would like to do different sizes, so like smaller books, bigger books. My next one that I'm going to do, I'm going to experiment with thinner pages. These pages were quite thick, and I think it kind of gives bigger gaps. So I want to experiment with thinner pages and see how that works out. But all in all, it's fairly straightforward once you have the method. It works very well. I think you need to be aware at the top. If you saw in the video, I was using a ruler quite a lot to fold in those little folds in there. Again, it might have been because my pages were thick, but you need to make sure that that it's folding right into the spine and that it's not creating like a wedge. So even some of those there do need to go in, so you can push it in, so you can check that there before you make it into the book shape. So a few things that I would probably adjust or think about when I'm doing it again, but that is the great thing about crafts, that you can repeat and do again. But I love my Christmas tree. I am going to put it up to display. Happy crafting!